Hey guys, what is up? In my role as a Spear of the Church, I frequently find myself getting summoned by the same player over and over. If I fight them, I beat them, they rush the boss, and sometimes I have a lot of fun with them. And this was one of those times. So this was a player by the name of the Sun Shrine. I'm looking and checking him out, and I see the target shield, and it looks like the Cathedral Knight, or maybe the Lothric Knight, Ultra Great Sword. So I know, first of all, with the target shield, he's going to go for parries. And I know with the Ultra Great Sword means I can pretty much reaction roll anything he's going to throw out. So he cannot pressure me, so I can pretty much sit in his face, and you'll see there he hits me with a rolling attack. I'm not going anywhere. Notice I don't roll out, I don't relieve the pressure, I stay right in his face. And that's a big change I've made in the last few months, and I would encourage any of you who find yourselves kind of resetting to neutral too often to try and do the same thing that I'm doing here. I'm obviously wary of the parry shield. He doesn't have enough poise to be able to trade with me here, so it's just kind of an even trade. And you can see he's kind of memeing here. He doesn't have any armor. He's just kind of screwing around. I think about going for another roll catch here. I'm like positive he's going to panic roll, but I am still worried about that shield, so I don't go for the roll catch there. And he's kind of able to escape. And I see here he's using the pillar very effectively to cut me off so he can heal up. I back off. I think about using Bountiful Sunlight, but he doesn't give me the space, and here he makes a mistake. He rolls in toward me aggressively, which I can easily pivot around him and backstab him, and that is obviously the end of the first fight. So at the time that I was recording these, I didn't know that it was going to be kind of a series, so I actually missed our second and I believe our third fight. This is our fourth fight. You can see he hit me with a point down, but I think it was actually cheeky. I don't think he actually meant anything by it. He also tried to use a dual charm on me, which I give him credit for paying attention. Some people think that dual charms will actually cancel any kind of body buff like my regen. It does not. The only thing I'm aware that the dual charm will actually strip is an actual weapon buff. I think beyond that, they're useless. If somebody's certain of another application, let me know in the comments, but I've done some testing. I haven't found anything else that it's good for. He's still committed to the idea of trying to get a parry here. I think he's got the split leaf, but he's using it one-handed, which pretty much nerfs any effectiveness it would have. Plus his lack of poise means he can't really wombo combo me with that thing very usefully unless he just flat out catches me in a roll somewhere. You've probably noticed I've been going for a lot of backstabs against this guy. I really screw one up here in just a moment. Oh man, I accidentally hit the roll button there. He left his back wide open. When you're right next to somebody and they roll toward you like that, it's very, very easy to backstab. He's also, unfortunately, we've got some latency. Like the connection is solid, like there's no lag, but he probably lives far away from me. And so there's a substantial amount of latency, which is also making it hard to roll catch him, unfortunately. You know, I've talked in the past, I always have a lot of respect for anybody that'll come into this fight, especially somebody that'll come into the fight 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row and lose and still keep coming back and not give in to maybe the temptation to summon somebody else. So, you know, I'm usually not going to go as hard as I can against players like this, especially if they're not very good. I'll start to go easier on them. I'll start to cut them some slack. But this guy seemed to be having fun. He was also pretty good. I mean, he caught on to what I was doing. He adapted pretty well. So I maybe didn't go as easy on him as I might on some other players. But we definitely, at least I certainly had fun. I hope he did as well. And here I screw up. I didn't mean to do a running attack. I was trying to pressure him, and I knew the second I let that running attack go, I had given away enough space that he would be able to break away and heal. And of course, as a Spear of the Church, the only real advantages you have, not being able to heal functions as a sort of advantage because there's no point to reset to neutral. There's no point to break away because you can't heal. So don't reset, don't let them heal, don't let them use their sole advantage. Your other advantage consists of the Guardians. So when the Guardians spawn, obviously you want to gank the hell out of whoever you're fighting. And you know, sometimes ganking doesn't feel the best, but compared to the advantages the host has, your advantages are relatively minuscule by comparison. And there, unfortunately for him, he ends up panic rolling and pays the price. So it was right about this time where I realized he's taking the fight a bit more seriously. I think this was our 4th fight, maybe even our 5th. You can see now he's actually decided to start using some armor. It looks like he's got the exile there. He's still actually in his inventory kind of screwing around, so I go back to my greatsword and I give him a minute to get adjusted. And you can tell he still seems to be having fun. And then I notice he rolls here in just a moment and unfortunately kind of mismanaged his encumbrance and ends up fat rolling. And normally I would probably pressure somebody who did that, but in this case I decided I kind of give him a pass to get in there and fix the problem. You know, I think the other lesson from this is he's not adapting in one really important sense, and that is he's still too wedded to the idea of getting a parry, of maybe one-shotting me. I mean, it's still level 90, unless he's a chaos build, which it doesn't appear that he is, a dark build. He's really unlikely to be able to one-shot me, even with the Hornet Ring on there. And there I screwed up the pivot stab on his roll-in. But now that he goes and two-hands the weapon, he's in much better shape. Of course, he can use the weapon art, and that weapon art always catches me the first time because I don't realize that they're using Twin Princes. There I switched to one-handed mode to try to poke him because I had him low on health, screwed up and realized I didn't have the S-stock in that hand, and he could have really punished me for that mistake. But I was lucky that he didn't. So he goes over here, he's no fool, he knows to get after the Guardian, but I'm already one step ahead of him, protecting the Guardian. And he used the weapon art to hit me, which I thought was very smart in that situation. I think really he could have just afforded to be more aggressive, swung his weapon more, and give up on the parry tool, and he probably would have done a lot better against me. You can see even in this fight, he's already doing a lot better because he's attacking me more frequently and two-handing his weapon. And unfortunately, the latency here means I'm not able to punish his heal. So this is the first time he's actually gotten me somewhat low on health, and I see now he's switched to Gundyrs, he's using the weapon art, and that is a huge threat. I could switch to the Cestus and try to parry him. I don't remember, I don't think I actually switched over. I see him back off to heal here, and I make a really good read. I'm expecting him to use the weapon art after he heals to try to punish me running in after him, but I'm one step ahead of him here. This trait is on prediction, not on reaction. I predict it, and I go to use my own weapon art, which gives me a lot of added poise, and so I'm able to tank his attack, and I think the trade ran very favorably to me. There I get a backstab that I almost never get, the run behind pivot backstab on somebody who's Estusing. I've only gotten a handful of those. It's something I'm still working on trying to get better, and he uses the blessing, which means he was already anticipating from our previous fights where I had used Undead Hunter Charms on him. He set the blessing up specifically for that situation. Again, that's adaptive. That's really smart of him. So now I'm in a bit of trouble here. I could absolutely heal. I could use medium heal. I could use soothing sunlight. But as just a general rule against solo hosts, I don't use those healing miracles unless I were fighting somebody who was really, really good. Like you have G9 or Silly Dog or Rusty Greatsword or any people like that were to come in here, then I would pull out all the stops just because they are good enough to warrant it. But here I figure I'm probably pretty well beat. He gives me a clap. So I figure I'm going to throw off one more Bountiful Light to try and give myself a little bit of a buffer here, because right now if he hits me with 1R1, I'm probably dead. Unfortunately, I ignored one of my own cardinal rules about Ashen Estus and reusing it when you run out, so I'm not even able to get that. Fortunately, my previous Bountiful Light is still running just a little bit, so I'm getting a little bit more added health. So now I'm at the point where I can tank 1R1. Here I missed something. He switched over to the Twin Princes and then immediately used an Ashen Estus, which is like a red flag that he's about to use the weapon art, but I wasn't thinking about it, and so I wasn't ready for it, and so he catches me, and now I'm in definite like 1R1 range of death. So here I decide I've got to make something happen if I'm going to have any chance at winning this fight, so I kind of decide to go for broke, and I decide that I'm going to go ahead and try to land a pivot on him, assuming that his aggression is going to serve me, and it ends up working miraculously. And so now I know I've got to put him away before this wears off, this Undead Hunter charm, or I will certainly not win. And I managed to catch him. I imagine that had to be a bit of a dispiriting loss for him. It was obviously a great win for me. So this is actually the last fight, and spoiler, I actually win this fight too. I expected him to come back again, he didn't, which probably means he ended up getting another spear eventually and probably beat the other player. Or maybe I was summoned to another fight and he got half-light. Who knows? Unfortunately, he did not get the chance to beat me. I kind of wish he would have. It's always fun when a host is finally able, after multiple attempts, to come back and win against me. I actually really enjoy that. I like watching them adapt and get better. And he definitely adapted and got better, just not enough to pull out the W. And here, he was not able to dispatch the Guardian in the beginning of the fight, and that really hurts him. And you've probably heard me talk about it before, but this just really illustrates the importance of getting rid of that Guardian right from the beginning. He still managed to reaction roll that S-Stock poke, which impressed me, and he managed to reaction roll my Greatsword running R1, and so he's hanging on about as well as he can, but trying to manage both me and the Guardian is a really difficult task, and I'm staying right on top of him and punishing all of his Estus. But I can't punish it enough to leave him with less health than he started with, but I'm still able to put him away. Thanks, Sunshine. I had a lot of fun in those fights, man. I hope you did too. Thanks for watching, everyone.